Time out is Kelsito, the spirit coach, getting you in shape before 48 recording yet again. Know your stars. Know your stars. Know your stars. Oh shit. Know your stars. Know your stars. Know your stars. Know your stars. Know your chakras. Know your stars. Know your chakras. Know what state of being you in, and things of that nature, so you can represent you and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have a representation of you, and usually these be things like, you know, your mentalities that you keep, you know. So your mentalities represent you. You have a mentality for different situations. You may have a mentality for your family life. You know what I'm saying? You may have a mentality for your public life, you know what I'm saying, a way you present yourself and things of that nature, but you always want to make sure these things are consistent, and they also are a good representation of you, because anything that's a good representation of you will always manifest the fruit that represents what you're most comfortable with or what can be familiar. Now, just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's always good. But for the most part, you can use the familiarity energy that you receive from that and use that as a motherfucking bitch. You know what I'm saying? Because always remember, the spirit isn't anything that we're using, but for the most part, it's what we, you know, it's our closest representation to ourselves. So this is the most easiest way to learn, by you being vulnerable, by you being open. You know what I'm saying? By you being, by you getting to know yourself and things of that nature. And so when someone tries to throw stones at you, you know what I'm saying, for you being yourself, then, even if they're right, throwing that stone at you, you'll learn faster than anyone else. So you always got to be open to all possibilities and God in your life. Now, as you can see, you got to know your stars. So you know what I'm saying? You got to know what you're experiencing. When you have correspondence and you know what you're going through, you know what I'm saying? You're not looking at it, you're not in it as much as everybody else, because you're looking at it from a bird eye view. You know what I'm saying? I like to call that the Cito ego. You know what I'm saying? But this is putting you into a perspective where, you know what I'm saying, you're not playing, hold on, let me put this on too. Oh shit, because you feel me? Hold on, let me show y'all what that is. You know what I'm saying? Good foot, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is going to put you in a perspective where win, 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 win. You know what I'm saying? But this is going to put you in a perspective where, you start to know, you're starting to know yourself a little bit more. You get intimate with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And knowing yourself is one of the most precious things, because, you always, once you get to know yourself, you're going to know what is you and what isn't you. A lot of times, based upon what we think be at the end of the road, we might jump into a situation or a circumstance where it don't necessarily fully represent who we are, and then we don't like what's at the end of that tunnel, but you can't blame anyone but yourself. So, you know what I'm saying? We should always have fair representation for ourselves in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to presenting yourself, not just in any circumstances, but with people, the things you say, you know what I'm saying, the things you talk about, you know what I'm saying, and, what you're about, you know what I'm saying. So always put yourself in that perspective and perception where you always doing something to represent yourself, you know what I'm saying, and you being, so you can learn what you need now. I'm not saying that's going to be easy. It might be, you might get your ass beat up a little bit, a couple times here and there. That's life. It's not about that. It's about knowing how to, wanting to be a learner, wanting to develop, wanting to, become better, at what you're doing in your task at hand. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. But you got to know your stars. You know what I'm saying? You got to know your mentalities. You know what I'm saying? Your stars is your lights and things of that nature. AKA, hey, this is how you want to be seen. And anytime you're in a perspective of something how you didn't want to be seen, this is a light that you got lost into. Now, you as the observer ain't that light, so you can always change that light for you. You know what I'm saying? For you first, and not try to get, not try to, not convince yourself you are the light. And this is when you say, oh, I don't like how I'm seen, or I don't like how this, and I don't like, no, it's always a chance to work, but you got to know your stars and things of that nature. AKA, know the influences, know what you're getting hit by, and so when you know what you're getting hit by, you know what I'm saying, you can identify, and once you understand what you're getting hit by, and you start to identify, you can, and you can develop your own mentality to fly you into that area. Now, a lot of us do this by default and things of that nature, but our awarenesses aren't big enough or strong enough, you know what I'm saying, because it'll be times where you may have, that the wisdom and knowledge and the faith and things of that nature, but because you don't necessarily, you might have other insecurities in other areas that may be blocking you from fully accepting your role in that position that you want to be in. And so when you see another person in that position that you want to be in, you know what I'm saying, you don't have no other way to go about it but to hate on that person. And you may not even think that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But if a person is aligned and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, but that's a lot of how our relationships are built off of. They're built off hate and things of that nature, hating on the next person and things of that nature. That's how we get along with other people, you know what I'm saying, in life, by hating on some shit, so that's another perspective of the world that we in. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this shit built off hate. So, you know what I'm saying? And hating on the next person or some shit like that. But it ain't necessarily about hating. It ain't necessarily about hating and things, because that only just set you back in some way, shape, or form. It only sets you back. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about doing stuff for God and doing stuff together. Doing stuff for God and doing stuff together, and not doing something for your lower desires. So you only hate because you're in a desire to be within another person's position. You know what I'm saying? And when you desire to be in another person's position, you're spending too much time on that, and you're not focusing on your gifts and attributes, and maybe the regimen this person might be in to even come to the conclusions of how to be in that space. You know what I'm saying? It's certain practices, it's certain things down to the detail, but what that matters none. What matters is the energy that you're receiving of this person this person being disciplined in things of that nature, in some type of nature, so that person attracts the good end of the stick, more attributes, more shit, you know what I'm saying, more shit that can help that person out and things, whatever. Shout out to I Ain't Shit, I like that name. I Ain't Shit, Magic Seas, blah, what's good. But yeah, so we gotta put ourselves in that perspective and things, you know what I'm saying, so we can be a little bit more light enough in weight, light enough in minded and things of that nature, because we always shedding. And what do I mean by always shedding? How do you think you as a motherfucking being right now is growing from the inside out? You know what I'm saying? Your skin is growing thicker, you're growing older, you know what I'm saying, getting older, so you're growing from the inside out. So that's literally your spiritual flame, which isn't the spirit, but we all create that spiritual flame, which is that awareness that's burning from the inside out and things of that nature. So, you know what I'm saying? This is this is what we producing. You know what I'm saying? We're producing some type of substance and things of that nature that's trying to correlate with this world. You know, but for the most part, it's important, you know what I'm saying, for you to do that in the correct way. And for you to do that in the correct way, it ain't really no playbook or anything, but you can understand what you're going through based upon astrology, the moon phases, and how they move, and you know, just different angles and shit that you can get into to understand this shit, you know. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying, without that, you still can know your stars. You can know you always creating mentalities. You know what I'm saying? You can know you always creating women-talities. Mentalities is men, your thoughts, and things of that nature. So your thought brings you to the external realm of reality and things of that nature, and gets you excited. And whenever you externalize something, you speak. You know what I'm saying? You can go to distance and things. You can be seen whether you're in a motherfucking homeless shelter. You know what I'm saying? Or not. You can be seen far out. You can have a mentality that can reach the heights. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And people can use your light, develop their own ideas, and do that for themselves, because that's what we do. But for the most part, we got programs for that. You know what I'm saying? Where it ain't necessarily like you making up your own type of situation. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to stabilize your own type of situation. As far as your gifts and talents, you may just be peeping another person gift and talent and how they got point A to point B and expecting that to work for you. But if you're aware in the context that I'm talking in, that obviously you have a bigger job. You have a bigger problem on your hands, you know what I'm saying? Because you're the more mature spirit, you're the more intelligent spirit. And so you know about God, you know about faith. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get presented the same opportunities that these other spirits got presented, because they maybe in past lives did certain contracts and soul contracts with, in positions that, you know what I'm saying, that allowed them to be in that space. But if you hear, then God got something else for you. So, but for the most part, then you get into that space, that's all possibilities. And then at that point, you don't want to ever underestimate God, because if you're underestimating God at that point, shout out to Mind Spirit Soul too. But if you're underestimating God at that point, you know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying, you're damning yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're damning yourself, you're damaging your spirit, and you're damaging, because you're thinking from limitation and things of that nature. And people be scared to not think from limitation. People be scared to be like submerged in God. You know what I'm saying? Because they're clinging on to like desires and things that kept them safe. You know what I'm saying? Before. Now, I'm not saying at this point where you don't have to use things of this world to make sense out of things. Everything that is God, you know what I'm saying, making sense out of things. And that's another thing. Well, God likes to do that. Let me say that. God likes to do that. God likes to make sense, because it's teamwork make the dream work and things. And so what you have to make sense of is what can make sense amongst another person. You know what I'm saying? And so for the most part, what can make sense amongst another person has to be, done with God's power. Faith, belief, imagination. But, with faith comes work, with belief comes, with belief comes experience and things of that nature, and wisdom, and imagination, you know what I'm saying, that comes bravery and courage and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, and motherfucking, and the ability to speak out. So you want to put yourself in a perspective where, you know what I'm saying, you got a certain type of courage about yourself, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to what you believe in and what's God to you and things of that nature, so that, you know what I'm saying, God can see you as fit no matter what circumstance that's coming past your way. You could be going through the worst circumstance of your life, but, you know what I'm saying, God wants to see you use what God like to do, create. And so this is when you get into your chakra, your creativity, your solar plexus. This is the story of Jesus as well, rising from the flesh and things of that nature, rising from the nature and the things of the world, the body, and then getting into the mentality, being able to shine, being able to create, being able to rise, and things of that nature, and be with God again. Because now you're not dead, you know what I'm saying? You're not trapped in, the flesh, you know what I'm saying? And whatever is the flesh is limited. So whatever is with the flesh come with the flesh. So therefore now, you know what I'm saying, your Jesus can Christ. You know what I'm saying, your Jesus can rise and things of that nature. So, that's what it's all about when we in these natures and things. But yeah, you don't want to be spiritually damaged, and damn yourself and shit. And when you damn God, you know what I'm saying, this is you believing into limitations and things of that nature, and how things can come and how things can flourish and things, you know what I'm saying? So, we gotta do it together though. You know what I'm saying? It gotta be done with another person. It gotta be done with people. It gotta be done with, because that's the way we make sense of this world. And if we go outside and we're not making sense of our worlds and shit like that, and we're not using our thoughts and feelings and shit like that, we're only utilizing thoughts and feelings that we're programmed to believe, and that may look like, you know what I'm saying, what we learn and shit like that, and things that, necessarily program us and keep us into cycles that, like I said, at the end of that rope that you follow, you know what I'm saying, it may look good, but you may have gained it for a monetary, position or something like that, or it may put us in an aspect where it may put us in a position where, you know what I'm saying, that type of shit, where it at the end of the road, and I'm talking about myself too, you know what I'm saying, it didn't necessarily work out because, we're in an aspect where we're doing it for our own desires, but we need to do this for, the betterment of unselfishness and things of that nature and shit like that. And that's putting in the aspect of God, because something can be very new that can fulfill you in new ways and always and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the T. You know what I'm saying? That's the spiritual T. So you gotta know your stardom, you gotta know your freedom and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to ask yourself, damn, do I really believe in God? Like, do I really believe in God? Like, you know what I'm saying? But if we've been taught, like, based upon how we've been taught in, religion, you know what I'm saying, and things where we've seen examples of, people following the blind God based upon how they teach y'all in church and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, then we see that God ain't manifested no fruit for those people. So that means, something's going on here. And that's when we have to question. But since they got like authority over y'all in some way, shape, or form, mentally, they did so much witchcraft where you don't question shit. So you gotta question shit, and that's how you get to be in your aspect of being a person that has concern, being a person that has, you know what I'm saying, a fervence to know, a fervence to, being a person that, has some fucking care about your goddamn self. And then once you get that, you know what I'm saying, that, that's a chakra system. That's talking about the Cancer, and shout out to that. We in the Cancer moon today. You know what I'm saying? So, we just reacting and responding to, family, home, domestic issues and shit like that. And, just people familiar and what's close to us and things of that nature. And, and trying to see the meanings or reasons of why, people be acting the way they be acting and shit like that, especially when it comes to our family right now. You know what I'm saying? Because we trying to see, like, we trying to peep game and see, like, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But, don't take it too personal and things of that nature. It's always, people be having their own shit going on with their own mind and their own insecurities and things of that nature. So you don't never want to, make what another person's doing about you. What up, Iman Journey? What up, Chakra Sensation? Yeah. But you want to keep it into that as well. Keep your head on and things of that nature and shit like that when it comes to your energy and protecting your energy and separating your energy and make sure what you're doing, you about business and you serious. You know what I'm saying? And God, and because that's going to put you into an aspect where even if the person think they know it all, you may know simple things like astrology, right? And you may know how the energies is playing and shit like that. And so when the energies start playing out and you like, yeah, well, I'm telling you about this energy and I'm telling you this gonna happen and things of that nature. And don't get into that pandering shit where it's like, oh, you doing it for some selfish desire. No, if you gonna really get into some shit, get into some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, when you get into this shit, you like, okay, I'm telling you this happening, and this is what's gonna happen, and this is the best thing that, you know what I'm saying, you can look at the stars. Then you on the field, and God gonna put you in the perspective of when that time do come up, and that person, you're not gonna have to justify it. It's gonna play out. Now, all that person can do is hate on you because you got a representation. You representing knowing some shit. But it's something that they can know too. You know what I'm saying? But they just lazy in some way, shape, or form, and they don't wanna, you know what I'm saying? They lazy minded and lazy in spirit. What up, y'all? What up, Sophia? What up, Quill? They lazy minded, so they may play into an aspect where, you know what I'm saying, that's just the energy that they like to play out. Like they like to play out being lazy and shit like that. That's how they get from point A to point B and shit like that. But at that point, like nobody want to be that. Like God don't, you know what I'm saying? At that point, people like that fall off and like they just go through hard shit. So you know what I'm saying? Everybody gotta get on their shit. Everybody gotta get on their shit. Everybody gotta get on their shit. But yeah, that's what shout out to My Spirit Soul. You will only get what you deserve. Yeah, you only get what you deserve at that point, right? So the people that play into that aspect where they want to be lazy and shit like that, you only gonna get what you deserve. So if you getting what you deserve and that's seeing a person that look like they in a better position than you and shit like that, and you hating on that person because they might seem like they got short end of the stick or something like that, but it's not that. It's just they're more on the right side of the energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's justified in some way because they're putting themselves into the right aspect of the energy and shit like that. And you may be just a hater, But you know what I'm saying, you don't never want to be no spiritual hater. That's you don't never want to do that. You don't want to hate on nobody. You don't want to put that energy out. You know what I'm saying? God love people who don't hate on people. God love people who don't hate on people because God, you know what I'm saying? You can hate on people for the right reason. You gotta hate on people for the right reasons more so. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's the right reason, like if they into some bull, there's some shit that's good to hate though. You know what I'm saying? There's some shit that's good to hate in this world. It is. You know what I'm saying? Like even you gotta hate yourself sometimes. I don't like this body. I don't like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like these thoughts and feelings and shit like that. I ain't shit. You gotta tell yourself that I don't like that shit. I ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And then, because it's more of a spell thing. You know what I'm saying? Because in this world, that's all they put on our mind, and they want us to be shit. But in the aspect of what they presented being the shit looks like, and once you in that aspect of that of wanting to be shit, it's hella shit that you got to go through to uphold that shit, and that shit may take you way longer than you actually practicing what they did to manifest and create that sigil for them to look like something is the shit because they was creative enough to do that. So before you don't even have to go get the shit that they created, you know what I'm saying? You could just put yourself into the aspect of shit. I'm the shit because I'm like them and shit like that. And I practice what they practice and shit like that. And obviously they practice some shit that you like because for the most part, it got shit within it that you praise in some way, shape, or form, which could be their money. You know what I'm saying? That you know how it go, whatever. But you know, shout out Mari, shout out Mari in this bitch. Yeah. Shout out Sadie or whatever. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all motherfuckers gotta get it together and shit. We all gotta get it together and shit like that. So we speaking subconsciously because we all connected subconsciously and things of that nature because, you know, it's all, sometimes it's just about resonance and things of that nature. So yeah, you can have your body and things of that nature, but for the most part, you got a physical location, but you got a motherfucking a spiritual location and things of that nature, or astral location, you call it. Or why you think we came up with words like "I feel you"? You know what I'm saying? No, that's really you feeling somebody, and then third, you just got into their wave. You know what I'm saying? And the spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? As above, so below. Shout out to Sophia the Seventh. You know, so you know, it's all about just connecting and things of that nature and figuring shit out and shit like that. We got help. We got God. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got each other and things, and we got tools. You know what I'm saying? We got tools. All your chakras, your chakra system, your 7 chakra system, and things of that nature, and you know, which is your sun through Saturn, your sun, your ability to act on something or have an idea or creative idea, or you know what I'm saying, or participate. You know what I'm saying? That's the sun energy. Participate. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the moon. You know what I'm saying? Your ability to react to something. You know what I'm saying? Try to get to something. Try to grasp something. You know what I'm saying? On the emotional level, that's your feelings. You know. Then you got Venus. You got Venus, which is your ability to balance and relate. You know what I'm saying? Take and things of that nature, and give, and also appreciate and things, you know what I'm saying? Still trying to figure my shit, but I'm gonna get there for real. Trying not to overthink, trying to stay focused. Yeah, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sophia the 7. I hear you. Yeah, we go figure this shit out. You know, it's a matter of showing up. And I think, you know, when we get into positions of, you know, you gotta be what you want. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be what you want. Every time there's no way you can outthink the universe. You know what I'm saying? You do gotta show up. You know what I'm saying? You can't think what's gonna happen tomorrow. You can't think what's going next. One thing you do know is that you gotta go show up. Now, how you show up is the fight. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Solar System. Now, how you show up is the fight. You know what I'm saying? You want to show up, you know, in the best way possible, even on your worst days. On your horriblest days, you want to smile. Give yourself a 2-second smile, and yeah, be like, man, this shit, I'm the shit, low. You know what I'm saying? I feel it somewhere, somehow. I can't see it, I can't feel it, mindful, but I'm gonna get it. You can definitely underthink it though. Yeah, you want to put some thought to it. You know, you want to put some thought to it. Shout out to Mercury and Capricorn, especially now. You want to put some thought to it. You know, mind, spirit, soul, whatever. You want to put some thought to it. You can underthinking is really just when you got your mentality with in your lower chakras and shit like that. So you're thinking too much about how you gonna feel about something. You know what I'm saying? So you know when you're thinking too much about how you gonna feel about something and things of that nature, you're not using logic in the right aspect. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about a little bit more what's practical and shit like that, and what makes sense. You know, what ideas make sense. When Venus enters Capricorn stellium at 11 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, but you know, so you know, some things do. You know, just go with the proof. Just go with what's proven. You know, and what's proven itself. You know, and I think when you go with what's proven itself in the aspect of if it is some type of miracle, and if it is working in the aspect where it's working, then at that point, you know what I'm saying, all you got to do is put yourself into a position where you're affirming that. You know what I'm saying? This is working out some way, shape, or form. It's like I know what to do, but I just feel things, and it's all mad Like I can see all aspects. Yeah, and a lot of that we could be attributing to Mercury, Mars retrograde, because we got a lot of we want information badly right now, but based upon Mars going retrograde, all that passion and things of that nature for that information looks like, we trying to be we're trying to logically come to conclusion about older mentalities that we were passionate about. But it's time to catch those right now and point those out, so that when we point those older mentalities that we involved ourselves in within our surroundings, that we can start to identify, what kind of got us, to whatever point we into our environment right now and stuff like that. So, make sure you keeping it up on that way. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, because Mars got, so don't try to fight what's happening right now, and that's why this is called Know Your Stars. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know what's going on in the stars. If you fighting what's happening, you're going to get that resistance. You know what I'm saying? Like, period. Like, you ain't God. You ain't God. We created the stars together, all of us. So that's if anything, I ain't saying that's God, but if anything, that's an indication of something you can tap into and interpret, so you don't get washed up and shit like that. Because, like I said, if I tell you and shit like that is happening and it's happening, you know what I'm saying, then I'm just looking like the representation of that. You just gonna hate on me. But guess what? I'm gonna keep riding that current, because I know how to do that, baby. I know how to do that for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do that for me. Ain't nobody gonna take me out of a space that God permitted me to be in. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna take me out of a space that God permitted me to be in. If it's for me, then that's what it is. Why, you know what I'm saying? At that point, it ain't about nothing else. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about yourself. It ain't super. If it ain't about my selfish desires, it super ain't about your selfish desires. You know what I'm saying? It super ain't about that. So, we always want to, remind ourselves about what we got at hand and shit like that, and what is actually for us, so that, we're not putting guilt trips and things on other people and letting us guilt trip us and so on, shape, or form. Keep going. You keep it real. You speak out to everybody, and I connect with you. Yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to you. So, you know what I'm saying? Chief. So, but yeah, shout out to Chief Keef. Yeah. But yeah. So, do. That's my nigga. Keef. Keith, you got to come back to the rack. We're going to get you in. But yeah, so, know your stars and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You know yourself better and shit like that. And it's going to be good days. It's going to be bad days. You know what I'm saying? But shit, at least you know what you're going through. You know what you're going through. Then you know what you're going through. And then you have a mentality about what you're going through. And shit. So the bads of it, not to, when you're going through the bads of it, you're not you're not so damaged and shit like that, because you know what you're going through. And then the goods of it, you know what I'm saying, you know what you're going through with that. And so, oh yeah, for sure, yeah, we all together. We all together in some way, shape, or form. We all intermingling in the spirit realm and shit like that. The better we do that, the better we construct that and things of that nature, it'll be a pretty continent or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But spiritually, that manifested from when we start taking over land and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We start building buildings and getting things right in our nature and teaching the world. We on our way. Yeah, mind, spirit, soul, you ain't told a lie. We on our way for sure. Know your stars. Know your stars. Cito, he is the spirit coach. That's true. Yeah, y'all remember, what was that? Who was that? All That. Y'all ain't watch All That on Nickelodeon. and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's before y'all time. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? You want to know your stars, baby. You know what I'm saying? You want to know your stars. Because you always get to know what you going through. And you ain't shit. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. So stop trying to be shit of the world and things of that nature and get some God in your life and learn some spirituality so you can know and to not cling to what the shit you think you was and the shit somebody taught you was and shit like that and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Y'all join Cito's Clubhouse membership. We're doing $5 to every season. CitoWorld.com/.